Hi, guys. Since this week we have focused on simply standing and doing things that we might improve our standing posture, I thought we'd finish off our first week of short practice sessions with another standing exercise from Feldenkrais, which would be to first stand and just notice your standing posture. Notice your standing posture. Feet comfortably apart. Toes maybe pointed a little bit out. Arms hanging. Ribs hanging from the spine. Legs supporting and grounding. Spine supporting up to the head, which balances. And of course, you're breathing. And now just begin to sway a little forward and a little back. A little forward and a little back. So you're like a pendulum, and your whole frame, so it's not this kind of swaying, it's not leaning and leaning, it's swaying forward and back, so that your weight comes a little into the front of the feet, but not so much that you have to lift the heels and back, but not so much that you feel like you're going to fall back. And just place your hands in your meditation pose and sway a little forward and sway a little back. And see if you can determine if you are swaying right in the middle, or do you tend to go over towards one leg and back on the other, or where does your line go? So if you were observing yourself from above, where would the pointer be going through space? So just swaying a little forward, a little back. You might notice that you turn as you go forward one way and you turn a little as you go back. So don't try to change any of that. Just very relaxed. And then slow it down. And if you're very relaxed, you might notice that as you go forward, there's a feeling of getting full in the front of the pelvis and the stomach. And that as you go back, if you're very, very, very relaxed, there's a moment when the spine reaches back as it's searching for the verticality to support you. So a little forward. So we could think about, in terms of chi, the chi comes to the front, it sort of moves to the front, and then it moves to the back. And you don't really need to do anything about it. If you're very relaxed, it will just happen. So you could inhale as you go forward and exhale as you go back. You can allow the belly to get full and round as you go forward. And you can even draw the abdomen in, the navel in, as you go back. And then pause and just rest in the middle. What's neutral for you? And now think about bringing your weight to the right and to the left. Right and to the left. Like you were a giant metronome that went one side to the other. But without really, well, yeah, you could lean a little bit. What you want to keep is your central axis lined up. Your coccyx, your tailbone, and your head line up. And then relax. And just continue drifting a little right, a little left. And notice which side you go more easily onto. For me, I go much more easily onto my left leg. And then my right leg's a little reluctant to take my weight unless I do that, which means I'm not lined up anymore. So just go to your leg and to your other leg without breaking the continuity of your central axis. Note how your weight tracks over your feet. Are you mostly in the heels, the outsides of the feet, the insides of the feet? Notice how you track over your feet. Pause. And now imagine that there's a pointer coming right out the top of your head, like a nail coming out of the top of your head, or a pencil glued to the top of your head. And could you go forward and around to the right or to the left, and then back around and come back into the center? So you draw a quarter circle and you come back. Come back to the center, go forward, the top of the head, which means the whole spine, not just the head, the whole spine makes a quarter circle and comes back. Forward, around, around, and back. Now go the other direction. Forward, quarter circle, and reset in the middle. Forward, around, make sure your breath is free, easy. And now draw a half circle between those two places, right and left. And what might you feel happening in your abdomen, in your organs, as you shift your weight in a half of a circle? Pause in the middle and just refresh your senses. Feel you're standing. And now go a little to the back. A little to the back and over to one side in a quarter of a circle. Retrace that quarter circle and come back to your center. You're going to go back, over to one side in a curve, and come back. So you'll start to feel as you go back that the front of you starts to tighten in order to hold you together. And keep you in a straight line. Otherwise, you might be doing something like this, or something like this, where you're turning around the waist. We want to go from the ankles. And then go to the other side. Back, quarter circle, and back. And now make a half circle from right to left, from left to right. And pay attention to the shape that the top of your head is creating in space with that pencil. Is it truly round? And what if you were to join all four of those points and sway in a circle in such a way that the pointer on the top of your head is drawing a perfect circle on the ceiling? Not an egg, not a square, but a perfect circle. And it does not have to be large. And think that if you had another pointer coming out from your tail between your legs, a long pointer, that you would be drawing a circle on the ground that would be the same circle you're drawing with your head in the sky. So those two circles would match up. Notice when your belly goes to the front, and notice when your belly goes to the side. And you might even have a sense of something circling inside around your waist or inside your pelvis. Reverse the direction. Notice where the circle is easy and where you have to kind of work at it. What could you do to make it smoother, rounder, more precise? And then leave it and just walk around, just walk around. Shake out your legs and stand. Now let's challenge the balance a little bit. Can you cross one leg in front of the other so that the outsides of your feet are together? And from here, turn yourself into a giant pencil. You now have a very narrow base. And take yourself, you might want to have something, a wall or a chair, something you can use to stabilize yourself if you need to. Notice what's happening in your ankles, the soles of your feet, which direction you face when you're on one leg or the other leg. And then take a few circles the other direction. And maybe have your hands down so that you can catch yourself if you lose your balance. This is a lot of new information for the hip joints, which, as we all know, are not here. They are in here, deep inside the pelvis. And notice that this gets a bit easier the more we do it. Feel a little more confident with it. Now just step and stand. And just once take the opening movement of the form. Take the other foot over the other foot. Cross the other leg in front. Straighten your knees. And circle around. Like the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz. Notice where you struggle and go very lightly there. Relax. Don't be afraid to fall. It's the fear of falling that makes us stiff. If you've gone both directions, just go a little forward and back. Feel what happens in your pelvis and your abdomen. Find a quiet place. And open out your stance. What is your sense of dynamic standing now? You go a little forward and back. Is that less scary? A little right and left. Is that clearer through the ground, through the leg? And if you went around in a circle, is there a little more movement in the ribs, inside, as your system adapts and gets under and over your skeleton? Go the other way, softly. Soft ankles and soft eyes, a relaxed jaw, relax the abdomen. Relax the knees. And now we start to get a little more Tai Chi-like. Sink your weight. Relax the knees. Lower your center of gravity a little bit. Straighten the knees so you have a high center of gravity and more instability. More movement and more instability. Lower your center of gravity. More stability, less mobility. So it depends on what you want. Stable, unstable, stable, unstable, stable. Press down. Hold on.